I'm Kwai and you're watching It's About Youth, where we discuss matters that matter to Malaysia's younger generation. We're here today in REXKL in the heart of downtown Kuala Lumpur. Now, it was once formerly known as one of the most prominent cinemas in KL, but now stands as a reimagined space together with the streets around it as a symbol of revitalisation that blends Malaysia's rich cultural tapestry along with the growing creative economy. Here to speak a little bit more about REXKL Chinatown is Zeen Chang, co-founder and managing director of Kwai, as well as Kean, or fondly known as Bunga in the scene, the venue director of REXKL, as well as the festival director of KL Chinatown Festival. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. Now, firstly, REXKL and Kwai in the last few years especially, are areas that are frequented by various tourists, different groups of people, but arguably a lot of youth, and it's really, become very popularly known as a youth hub. What role would you say such youth hubs play in fostering a sense of belonging and even empowering the local community? Zeen, shall we start with you?
Okay. Yeah. Well, the main idea that Kwai started was really to look at what was lacking when we first started at 2019. And one of the main things we realized that was lacking was really the lacking of youth. The type of audience that Kwai or should I say the whole of Chichongkai, Petaling Street, was bringing in were really the much older generation. And a city or a township, they can't be well if all you have is a certain target audience, a group of target audience. You need the youth. You need the younger generation to come in with their fresh ideas. And that's why Kwai did exactly what we did, which is every curation we do, every installation we do, we speak in a language that the youth is most familiar with, which is with the gadgets and with the screen in mind. So the food doesn't, when the food arrives, the camera eats first. Anywhere they go, the picture has to be the reason why things are captured. Moments are captured through pictures, moments are captured through videos. So we design a lot of our installation and our curation around the screen.
And how about you,
For REXKL, actually, is a labor of love and blood, sweat and tears from a group of very committed heritage lovers of architects. So they decided to revitalize REXKL into a community and cultural hub, by filling it with local businesses, creative local businesses from various categories, from F&B to retail to arts and craft, and to turn it into a new community center, as well as a commercial center for the youth, and also to hold activities from music to arts to new media art, to bring in new audience into not just REXKL but also Chinatown.
It's really that sense of blending the old and the new, right? And just really preserving the heritage that's so well known down this street. But the REXKL Kwai, they're relatively new for the last 5 to 6 years. What would you say are some of the barriers when it comes to developing community-driven initiatives such as these youth hubs? And perhaps you can tell a little bit about how you've tried to navigate these barriers.
I'll go?
Yeah, sure.
I think it's the resistance to change from people around. One of the things we noticed was, I guess the toughest is to get the, if you want to develop a space and you do it on your own, it's no fun.
Yeah.
You need everybody to be involved, but the only way you can get everyone involved is to at least have them share the same inspiration, same idea, same direction. However, a place like Petaling Street, a lot of these businesses were here for 50, 60, 70 years. This is like rock solid businesses in terms of background, not so much of rock solid businesses in terms of their performance or their profitability. So to get them to change their mindset, how they should be looking at changing whom you're talking to or including more people to talk to the youth, to talk to younger people. That resistance to change was really the toughest for us, to get people to see it. That they feel so uncomfortable with a bit of change. Because they are afraid, the way they act out is disagreement. I don't agree with what you do, not because I know what you want to do, but more so I don't like that change. I don't like the feel of changing. So that to me was the toughest thing, to try to instill a big idea to revive, say, a dilapidated street. then to overcome it is really to prove to them. So it didn't immediately start with a lot of positive outcome or media. In fact, 80% of my media when I first launched was negative.
Oh, okay.
So imagine that, right?
Took a while to convince them.
6 to 8 months. By 8 months, we were just, everybody loved the space. From being that ghostly location in the main page of the paper, we were must visit in the must visit space in KL. So it does take a while, but if you can prove to them, then it works.
And Bunga, what's your experience been like?
I think the main challenge for us as a private entity is basically sustaining ourselves with a limited budget and also resources. In the last few years, as well as with the pandemic and all that, we are actually really just recovering slowly from that. And how to work with such limited resources and budget to still create engaging and relevant content to bring in the audience that we want to REXKL. And hopefully with the KL Chinatown Festival is our first step toward doing that, towards getting working with more partners, such as Think City, DBKL, maybe even a Motec, to actually come together and create more programming, more interesting content that will help to increase footfall to not only REXKL but also Chinatown as a whole.
It's a cohesive effort. Yeah, it has to be a cohesive effort. Like what he mentioned, those very important parts that makes things work. It has to be together. I mean, right now it started with REXKL, Kwai, hey, let's do something. It was like that. And then you get more people on the street and say, hey, the businesses around, let's do something. We're going to do this to make this better. If all of us have the intention to just give first, let's do something. It's not just for yourself, but do something for everyone that include yourself. Then it works.
Yeah. Because for us, we don't see it as a competition. We see it actually as complementary. Because every space or every venue in Chinatown has its own unique identity as well as attractions. So for example, something like a Kwai, they have something that we don't have, and vice versa as well. And also to all the other venues in Chinatown as well. So therefore it's about working together and combining forces and putting in different types of interesting content
that will enhance the experience of people
exactly, and that will appeal appeal to a wide range of audience. Not just Malaysians but foreigners. And also and cut across all ethnicities as well. Because that is actually really the ultimate goal. To be as multicultural as possible while still retaining Chinatown's own unique heritage and essence. It is what it is, but we also want to present it in a way that is also universal and multicultural, for everyone to enjoy.
Everyone plays a role, everyone plays a part in contributing towards the revitalization of the street. I'm curious to know, Bunga, what other potential do you see when it comes to developing this area further as both a cultural and economic center?
I think there is there's still a lot of things to be explored. For example, we still haven't really seen the so-called the traditional businesses, people who has been in Chinatown, engaging with the new blood. And I think it's going to be very interesting if we can actually cross market or cross promote both the old and the new businesses and find ways to actually bring new audience to both of them. So for example, the younger generation might come to Chinatown for the cafes or the restaurants or the bars, for entertainment. But what about the traditional businesses? The tea house, the florist who has been there for 50 years. How do we expose that audience to these businesses, and vice versa? The people who traditionally come to Chinatown to just do their shopping for a few these things, to discover all these new businesses and also patronize them. So, and another interesting thing is that a lot of the alleyways are now being cleaned up by DBKL. So that is also another interesting new space for us to work with. How are we going to revitalize all these alleyways and spaces to turn it into public spaces where the public can enjoy activities, such as a street market or a night market, or maybe even like a art festival, happening in the alleyway. So these are all the kind of possibilities that is still yet to be explored, and I find it very exciting that a a lot of these things are now happening, or going to happen in the next couple of years.
But I think what's interesting that he mentioned when the old are not actually working with the new yet. I think what I'm seeing, the fear, remember the whole fear that we had earlier, it's also being assisted by new generations from the old.
Right.
That means I see shops
Family
that were
businesses,
So previously, maybe the next generation never saw it as a viable business because it's not profitable or not as profitable as they hope to be, not as flashy, not as profitable. But today, with Chinatown coming up like that, you are seeing younger generation coming back in. You're seeing the real estate prices going up. The next generation starts seeing, hey, there is a possibility I could make more money here and be glamorous and be popular. So suddenly the next generation is a little bit more keen to be involved. And then the next generation. So you have 3 generations of people running one business that was an old business because there are more involvement from the younger generation due to the fact that this location has brought in new blood. So for him to say the old and the new are not mixing, I think what's happening is the old are bringing in their new to come and work together. There is definitely a lot of new because I think if you look at Chinatown, a lot of parts of Chinatown were also a very wholesale market. If you now say with the footfall and the increase of traffic, you're looking at them being ready to say, I'm going to embrace retail, I'm going to embrace audience, I'm going to embrace tourists. That's where the new, you can see the newsy business coming in right now.
But still holding that essence of Petaling Street that we all
and also the oldness, right? So they have, for instance, restaurant. If any of these really old flavor, the old recipe, the old taste, go away because the generation is gone, it's a waste. So when the next generation say, okay, I can see that it's a viable business, I can see it's profitable, I'm coming back in to run the business with you, then you kind of restore the heritage of the food, heritage now even of the building. Like REXKL being revived, we really just restored to this. It was dilapidated before. Kwai, if you've seen the alleys, nobody would go. It's like a rodent-infested space. Also, a lot of vice activities.
Are actually part of the community.
Yes, the rodents are hidden right now. They're probably still there.
Yeah. And with Kwai Chai Hong, with your efforts in revitalizing Kwai Chai Hong, then how would you say it's kind of helped contribute to preserving what's so important towards Chinatown's heritage while making it also accessible to younger generations?
So I think preservation to purists, so a lot of purists when you speak to them, restoration and preservation is seen as separate from creating audience. For me, in Kwai Chai Hong, we saw restoration and preservation working hand in hand with the need to bring in new audience, the need to bring in more people to appreciate you. So by restoring a space but not working on bringing in more people to appreciate the space, to me is a waste.
Yes.
A lot of people put a lot of money and make it perfect, but you didn't make it accessible to everyone. So to me, that's not how I feel preservation should be about. Preservation is also about sharing as far and reach as many as possible to also enjoy and appreciate what you have preserved. And that's where I think innovation comes in. A lot of people will argue that innovation and preservation cannot work hand in hand because they think that if you put a lot of innovation in place, you are tarnishing what's preserved. I saw it the other way around. I say preservation is so much enhanced today because of technology, because of innovation. You can even add a layer of sensory right now because everything's on screen. I can transport you back in time more than just a mural can. So I paint something on a mural, but I slap a QR code or an AR code where you could now listen to the mural speak to you. I transport you back in time, not just through sight, through sound, and the visual enhancement even through AR. So that's where I think technology now enhances the way you could preserve a space, preserve the oldness, the experience. I bring you back in time, I transport you. So that's where technology would do. Archaeologists, a lot of them could not do a lot of things before, but now with technology, I could do an X-ray even before I'd start digging into that. Yeah, so I think technology is the main reason why preservation is now enhanced by so many folds.
Amplifying that tourist experience and keeping up with the times, that's what's important so that we don't fall behind. I'd like to shift the conversation a little bit to talk about the very recent KL Chinatown Festival. I think it really captured the essence of the street where it showcased various cultural landmarks, a lot of homegrown musical artists, but also workshops, even though music was a really big highlight. Bunga, how did you come up with the mix of programming here to make it sort of a more inclusive and well-rounded event that caters to diverse audiences?
So I think I have experiences running festivals such as this. I was the festival director for Urbanscapes for a number of years.
Yeah, you're no stranger to large-scale festivals.
Yeah, so I think the learnings from those festivals and working on Urbanscapes really help a lot in bringing KL Chinatown to life, because those festivals took place exactly in this downtown district as well. In fact, Zeen was a previous partner from 2018 or 19. 19. You know, so I'm already quite familiar with this entire space. Not to mention also I grew up around this area. So, but credit must go to my young team. They were the ones who actually came up with a lot of the ideas for curation on how to actually put in more interesting and engaging content that are not only educational, but most importantly also fun. I think when we do programming or content, sometimes we forgot that the most important element is actually for our audience or the festival goers to actually enjoy themselves and have fun. Because when people smile, when people feel happy, it really sticks with them. The feeling, they bring it home with them, and they remember what they have experienced. You know, it's actually embedded in their memory. You know, so that is actually one of the key, one of our key takeaways as well. So when we say that, hey, are we going to program something? Okay, there's a few boxes to tick. Okay, educational might be one of them, but most importantly, at the end of the day, we want the takeaway to be: is it going to be something that is actually people will enjoy and feel that they have learned something or they have experienced something that they don't usually experience? You know, so one of the key highlights for me was actually the Chinese Opera Festival performances that took place in Lorong Banglo. So we had audiences from all across different kind of ethnicities. You know, they were Malay, Chinese, Indian.
All sitting there listening.
All sitting there, you know, and enjoying themselves. Some of them don't even understand the language, but you know, you can feel that. Everyone really enjoyed themselves, and after talking to the performers themselves, they were also really happy because they get to engage and perform to people that they normally don't get to engage with.
Right.
You know, so to me, to us, the festival, I think that is one of our ultimate goal. We want to be able to bring our culture, our multicultural heritage to everyone who might not have been exposed to it, you know, because
somehow it's not accessible to a lot of people. Like Chinese opera to a non-Chinese speaking person, it seems so distant.
You're aware of it, but you're not quite sure
so
how
like,
exactly.
don't know if I should. Yeah,
correct. So
Yeah.
a lot of my friends or people, festival goers that I spoke to, they have not even seen a Chinese opera up close in that kind of setting. You know, so we made it very accessible for the public to come and just enjoy themselves. You know, and just come and take it in. You know, if you don't understand it but you still enjoy it, it's fine. You know, sometimes you don't really have to like fully understand things to actually enjoy them. You know, it's just basically like it's a feeling. It's a feeling. It's an experience that you take home with you. And I think throughout the 3 days that we had the festival, there were a lot of moments like that. You know, there were a lot of moments of I was walking around the entire festival site, and I think we also have the photos and the videos, you know, to show that
It's the faces, right?
Correct. You know.
Oh my god.
So that is
so
the kind
rewarding.
of that
It's
is
so
actually
rewarding.
our reward. That is our reward as a festival organizer and also.
We weren't looking at the
person.
performance. We're looking at the reaction of the crowd, and when you see the reaction and I remember the Wally performance.
Correct. So you know,
Everyone was taking up an instrument.
so-
Everyone was jamming in together. I mean, you could be just doing nuisance, right? But because everyone was doing it together.
That's the fun of it.
Oh,
Correct.
and
Yeah.
the age difference, the ethnicity, tourists with locals.
even the
It's so
performers
fun.
themselves, after the performance, they
Yes.
were like so happy. They say like, "Thank you for giving us this." No, but I was giving thanks to
Thanking
them.
them, yeah.
But they were also very thankful because they had such a fun time and engaging. And I think that is actually what a festival in its essence should be. It should be about people, you know, engaging with each other, sharing. Whatever it is that they're sharing at that moment, whether it's music, whether it's arts, whether it's just knowledge, or whether it's just talking to each other, you know.
That sense of community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the Malaysia that we
Yeah.
know and love. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
love
yeah.
diversity,
Yeah.
all coming together just to
Yeah.
have a good time
Yeah.
and introducing these new experiences by making use of old traditions.
Yeah, so right, correct. So we have activities that range from traditional Chinese opera all the way to the latest artists, underground Chinese artists. So the spectrum was very wide, but it was not done in a way where we were just trying to appease or appeal to the lowest common denominator. The programming was really something that the team and everyone involved believed in. We feel that, hey, we want to showcase something different. We want to showcase our range. We want to showcase who are the young talents that's actually currently available, but may not have been given a platform. So I think
we want to touch people.
Yeah,
I think that was the thing.
But also at the same time, we also want to pay homage to Chinese culture and its roots.
So providing this stage, for both the old and new to come together is an amazing idea, and empowering the local community. But it does take a village to make initiatives like this successful, and arguably we don't see enough of it. How do both of you think we can foster better collaboration within the community, whether it's with corporations or even government agencies getting more support from MOTEC, like you mentioned, and community leaders to ensure its sustainability, to see that we see more of these initiatives?
So the keyword, like you mentioned, is sustainable, right? Sustainability comes with everybody taking part. And you ask me, how do I start? I start by showing the example of doing it first. A lot of people tend to sit back and say, let's wait for someone else to do it, or it's always, let's wait for the government. There's always this thing about, oh, no funds, get funds from government. But I think if you have the ability, and Lim has the ability, to say run a festival and be self-funded in some ways, that means find sponsors, it's tough. He and his team were like going crazy to the last minute, still looking for sponsors. And the idea was to make sure that it is a huge enough event that will impact the community around. It's not for us, it's not for him, for benefit of profitability. And finally, when we got to a sponsor that would work with us, understand us and resonate with our ideas, then magic happens. So I'd say give first. Any one of us who want to try to make a change, who try to influence other people, the idea is, are you going to give first? Are you going to show an example of doing it first? And when you do, somehow it's contagious. Then the person who thinks you're a fool doing it first would say, oh, but that's pretty cool, pretty neat.
Now they're open to the new ideas.
So this whole like FOMO as well, right? It's like, they're so cool, I'm going to try. And then more back lanes are being developed. More shops are putting retail outlets up front. Everybody is realizing it's okay to target younger, it's okay to target newer audience, it's okay to collaborate. The old days, it's all about competition. I got my recipe, I got my restaurant. If I have $10,000, I will renovate anything within my line. But now it's going to be, how do I make it nicer even on the outside so that everybody gets to enjoy. So by us showing an example to do the fool's role, like why would you do Kwai Tai Hong Alley? You don't even earn a cent. Everybody comes in and mess it up and leave, and then you are picking up all the trash that they leave behind. But look at the community. Look at how it has brought a lot of people in. And then they will start realizing, oh, I could do that. I should do that. So if you were to set an example, give first, do something first, don't wait to be told, don't wait for someone else to do it. I think that's when you will start seeing things start changing.
Yeah. Bunga, would you agree?
Yeah, I think we barely engage like 50% of the community here. I mean, it's just due to time and also our limited resources. Obviously we are working within a tight budget. We don't have the resources all the time to activate all the spaces or the partners that we want to work with. But hopefully, like with this year's festival, it's just the first step. We want to grow the festival organically, and one step at a time, and hopefully, like what Zeen said, we have already done the work the first time around. Hopefully more of the local communities will be interested to come and join us, for the next edition, so that it's easier for us to open doors as well, because we have already, like you said, we have already showcased, hey, here is what
we could do this.
We could do this,
and even do it better.
We could, even with limited resources and time, we can do this. But with more resources and more partners, we can maybe even grow even better.
Yeah.
Not necessarily bigger, but better.
Yeah.
So because we are very careful here to say the word like we want to be the best or the bigger. Because I don't think
we're not chasing for size.
Yeah, we're not chasing for size. We're not chasing for best or whatever. We just want to basically ensure that the festival still maintains its essence, work with the local communities, but also engaging outside creatives to bring the spaces and our content to life, you know. But I think the main point is to engage everywhere, and activate every little space that we can have. And I think that we have done some of that this year, but I feel that there's still a lot more room to grow in the coming years. You know, there's so many other places.
But you did have a very short window frame to
correct.
do
You know, so yeah, 5 months only. So like, you know, like Chinbu Stadium, Stadium Merdeka, the newly renovated Stadium Merdeka, all within walking vicinity, all within walking distance. You know, so for us, anything that is within walking distance around the Chinatown community, we would like to explore, to see what else we can do.
So there's that vision to make it better, to grow this community. Very briefly before we wrap up then, looking ahead just to 2025, there's a lot, of course there's a lot down the pipeline, but just for 2025, what are your visions for Chinatown and perhaps the future of youth hubs in the coming year?
I think it's to continue to do what we do and what we believe in. Continue to actively engage all the local communities and businesses. You know, try and I think part of it is just going around and saying hello. You know, hi, we're doing this. You know, hi, how can we work together? And I think it's hopefully we can engage more partners, both from the private sector as well as from the government sector. You know, to see how we can work together to activate the community and the space, you know, and hopefully bring in more people as well.
And Zeen?
I think the key word is collaboration next year. I think we should remove competition. The old days where you compete with each other, I imagine, you know, you can't take the whole world's audience, right? So why not collaborate? And by collaborating, you are now hoping that your neighbors will do as well as you, as opposed to I want to hoard my audience and I don't want to share. Collaboration will be, I think, the key success for anyone, whether it's Chinatown, but any new businesses that you want to start. If you don't learn to collaborate, because then you're tapping on each other, you are losing out. So 2025 is about collaboration, whether you're collaborating with your neighbors, private to private, collaborating with the government, getting involved in doing things with DBKL maybe, definitely with people like Ting City who looks at projects like this. Clearly, I guess they take the flag and they run with the project like this and all of us follow. And that's how we all started anyway, was really Ting City sparked this idea and then we kind of just went along, and next thing you know, it's like, hey, you know, you want to do this, let's do this together. We didn't wait for everybody to agree and get involved, because I think that will slow things down. So often what I'm going to see next year, like what we did this year, is we literally make up as we go. I don't think any one of us will have a solid plan to say this is exactly what we will do, but there will always be a constant need for change, to change your mindset, to suddenly there's a new group of people who wants to join. Hey, okay, let's do it. Like the idea of the old and the new mix, right? There is the old businesses here who are resistant to change. Then my question to you is, do you exclude them? Or do they suddenly feel like, after you've done a Chinatown festival, maybe I want to do it? Then it's coaxing them in as well, right? And guiding them, this is what you can do. So that, to me, I think is 2025, the big role there.
Thank you so much, both of you, for doing what you do and for sharing your insight. Definitely want to involve more of the arts and culture, as we see now how the importance of it and what it serves to the community. I've been speaking to Zeen, Chang and Bunga Lin. You've been tuning in to It's About Youth with me, Kwai. Thank you for watching and good night.